from not only a business perspective and a developer, from both a developer perspective and a business perspective, what would you say are the biggest reasons not to pair program?
Well, I mean, from a developer perspective, if the developers aren't on board with doing it, then you shouldn't do it. Or take the temperature of your development team and see how often they want to do it. Do they want to do it 100% of the time that they're coding? Do they want to do it 50% of the time, or what is the best balance? Because maybe some developers think, hey, when I'm doing certain things, or another scenario I've seen is that some people, basically their default programming mode is not to pair. But if they are going to be tackling something that they're going to want some help on, then they just raise their hand and, well, not want to raise their hand, but basically raise their hand and say, hey, does anybody want to pair with me? Because I'm going to be working on this thing or debugging this thing or whatever it is. And then someone will raise their hand and say, hey, I'll join you. I can help with that later this afternoon.
Right.
So that's another scenario, is how often. I think not to do it is, I think if it's being forced upon the developers and they're not interested in it.
Right.
I think if it's not done effectively and you don't get the benefits of it from a management perspective, I could see it just looking at just additional cost with not benefits.
Right. And I think, I mean, there's a couple of things in there that I want to kind of point out. You mentioned this, the developer not being on board. There are going to be developers that just have zero interest in pair programming. It doesn't fit their personality. They don't like it. They don't want to do that. They gravitated towards programming because they don't have to interact with other people very much.
Yeah, they can talk to machines, not people.
Right. And that's, that's not an uncommon thing with developers either. So there are going to be cases where you may want to implement pair programming because it's good stuff, but there are going to be developers that are just not going to go after it at all. And they're going to fight it tooth and nail because they don't want to do it. Don't push it on them, because they're going to end up, whether consciously, maliciously, or subconsciously, they're going to end up deep sixing it because they don't want to do it. So don't force it on somebody who has no interest. And the other thing, from the non-developer people, the non-developer management, typically in most organizations where I've had blowback on this, is because they look at it and say, why am I paying two people to do one person's job? And they're not, because they're only thinking about the time right now. They're not understanding the bigger picture of what pair programming brings to the table, which is faster, more accurate development that has much fewer bugs, so much fewer black eyes for the company and PR problems. And it does end up increasing the speed of development overall. I may not develop or debug this thing or develop this new feature with less man hours by pair programming, but I do shorten the development cycle overall and the cost of maintenance and debugging and all that stuff in the long haul. So that's where I've seen most of the resistance from non-development managers. Oh, English, come on.
Just say management.
Right. From management.
Exactly.
And that's what I've kind of had to overcome in some cases, and sometimes you just can't, and it's just, sorry, we're not going to pair program, and that's it.
Yeah, I think putting two people on the task, it doesn't get done twice as fast. So I think there's not a net benefit there. There is a cost with the actual time of doing it. But I think the benefits to the organization are, again, that pollination of knowledge and protecting yourself for when developers have to leave or they get sick, or, you don't have one person that knows how to, just like if you were running a factory and Joe was the only one who knows how to fix your machine, and now suddenly Joe's gone, and what are you going to do?
Right.
So it's just having that, not one person responsible for everything, gives you redundancy.
Right. And there's a specific situation that this has both hurt me and helped me. There's a situation where, oh crap, had we pair programmed, this wouldn't be a problem. And another one where, thank God we pair programmed, so this is not a problem. And that is doing a sprint, which has a limited time frame. We've got an emergency for a customer that needs to get in there. Well, not an emergency, but it's a very short window of time. We need to get it done this week. And the person who, in the first case, the person who developed that thing and knew everything about it was on vacation and unreachable, stuck, got nobody else that knows how to deal with it. Same kind of situation in a pair programming scenario. The person, one of the people went on vacation. Well, the other person just stepped in and took care of it because they knew exactly what was going on. So there are more benefits than just how fast can I get this one ticket done.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of like, in the short term, more expensive. But when you start looking at like the medium to the long term, that's when I think a lot of the benefits.
Right. And I would say, and most of the times I've had these conversations with management, I'm like, yes, I concede on a ticket by ticket basis, this is more expensive. But on a long-term development basis, this yields far more benefits than the cost in almost every case. Sometimes you're just not going to convince people of that, though. It depends on what their mindset is and how they look at business. Sometimes it happens.
If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.